Hello! Happy and cheerful morning to all my dear students. I hope you all are fine at home and taking care of your health. So we are back with our English class and it's a short story. What is it? When grandfather tickled a tiger. Okay, what is it? Grandfather ने जब tiger को tickle किया. So you can see and आपको title से समझ में आ रहा है कि it's a story about a grandfather and a tiger. So first I'll tell you in short that the story is about a tiger cub. यानी कि टाइगर का जो छोटा बेबी होता है उसे हम बोलते हैं टाइगर का कब, टाइगर कब. So grandfather brought that tiger cub to his home. Then he took care of it. But as you know that tiger is a wild animal. वो तो इंसान को भी खा सकता है. So हम उसे इतने टाइम तक तो घर में नहीं रख सकते. Because as they will grow up, it will be risky to keep them. We can keep dogs, we can keep cats, but tigers तो खा सकते हैं ना हमें. So जैसे जैसे टाइगर कब बड़ा हुआ, then he realized कि अब मुझे इस टाइगर को दे देना चाहिए जू में, नहीं तो ये सोसाइटी के लिए हार्मफुल होगा, किसी को भी खा गया तो. So the grandfather gave the tiger to the zoo so that they can take care of the tiger in Lucknow. Then what happened next? All that we will see in the chapter. So come on, let's go.
21. When grandfather tickled a tiger. Prepositions. Tiger cub was found by my grandfather on a hunting expedition. At that time, he was a baby, just 18 inches long. After the expedition, grandfather took the tiger home. Grandmother named him Timothy. Timothy's favorite place in the house was the sofa in the living room. He loved to play with everyone. One of his favorite games was to stalk whoever was playing with him. When I went to live with my grandparents, I became one of the tiger's pets. With a naughty look in his eyes, he would creep closer and closer to me, suddenly making a dash for my feet, then rolling on his back and kicking with delight. He would pretend to bite my ankles. By this time, he was the size of a full-grown golden retriever. When Timothy was about 6 months old, he had to be chained up. Frequently, grandfather soon decided it was time to transfer Timothy to a zoo. The nearest zoo was at Lucknow, some 200 miles away. Grandfather reserved a first-class compartment on a train for himself and Timothy and set forth. The Lucknow Zoo authorities were only too pleased to receive a well-fed tiger. They had very few tigers in the zoo. Grandfather had no opportunity to see how Timothy was getting on in his new home until about 6 months later, when he and grandmother visited relatives in Lucknow. Grandfather went to the zoo and directly to Timothy's cage. The tiger was there, crouched in a corner. He was full-grown, his magnificent striped coat gleaming.
"Hello, Timothy,"
grandfather said. Climbing the railing, he put his arms through the bars of the cage. Timothy came up to grandfather. He allowed grandfather to put both arms about his head. Grandfather stroked the tiger's forehead and tickled his ears. Each time Timothy growled. Grandfather gave him a smack across the mouth. This had...
So what happened? It is about Timothy the tiger. And जैसा आपने देखा कि टिमोथी पहले छोटा टाइगर कब था. So at that time the author, that is the person who is telling the story, आपने देखा एक छोटा बच्चा था जो स्टोरी बता रहा है. सो उसके ग्रैंडफादर है ये. एंड उनने क्या किया था, व्हेन ही वेंट फॉर हंटिंग एक्सपीडिशन, दैट मीन्स कि वो एक जर्नी में गए थे जहाँ पे एनिमल्स को हंट करने गए थे. तो वहाँ पे उन्हें टिमोथी मिला था एंड ही डिसाइडेड टू पेट हिम. वो अपने घर ले जाने का उन्होंने डिसीजन लिया बिकॉज इट वॉज अ बेबी. नाउ एज ही ग्रो अप यू कैन सी टाइगर्स को तो हम घर में नहीं रख सकते क्योंकि वो मारने को दौड़ेंगे. दे विल ट्राई टू ईट अदर्स एज आई ऑलरेडी टोल्ड. सो व्हाट हैपेंड, ही गेव टू द पीपल ऑफ लखनऊ, दैट इज द लखनऊ जू. वहाँ पे टिमोथी को दे दिया. देन he didn't got time to check whether they are taking proper care or not. उन्हें बहुत प्यारा तो था टिमोथी, बट उनके पास टाइम नहीं था कि वो जाके चेक कर रहे how they are taking care. So after 6 months they went to the zoo. That is the grandfather he went and to see कि कैसा है टिमोथी मेरा टाइगर. Now he's all grown up even more. And you notice something that he was growling, वो उस पर घुरा रहा था. टिमोथी ग्रैंडफादर तो बहुत प्यार से उसको पैट कर रहे थे जैसे उसे बचपन में करते थे, बट यू सी हिज रिएक्शन इज़ नॉट गुड. अगर कोई पेट होता है, अगर आपके पास वो रहा होता है, सो द एनिमल्स रिमेंबर योर स्मेल, सो दे डू नॉट बिहेव लाइक दिस. सो इट वॉज वेरी स्ट्रेंज व्हाई टिमोथी वॉज बिहेविंग लाइक दिस विद ग्रैंडफादर. लेट्स फाइंड आउट.
This had been his way of keeping the tiger quiet when he lived with us. Timothy licked Grandfather's hands. Grandfather noticed that Timothy was nervous. He looked around and found a leopard in the next cage, troubling Timothy. Grandfather shooed the leopard off, and Timothy returned to licking his hands. A number of people had gathered to watch Timothy and Grandfather. Soon, a keeper pushed his way through the crowd and asked Grandfather what he was doing.
I'm talking to Timothy,
Said Grandfather.
weren't you here when I gave him to the zoo 6 months ago?
I haven't been here long, said the surprised keeper.
Please continue your conversation. I have never been able to touch that tiger myself. I find him very bad-tempered.
Grandfather had been stroking and slapping Timothy for about 5 minutes when he noticed another keeper observing him in surprise. Grandfather recognized him as the keeper who had been there when he had given Timothy to the zoo.
You remember me?
Said Grandfather.
Why don't you transfer Timothy to a different cage away from this stupid leopard?
But sir, stammered the keeper.
It's not your tiger. I realize that he is no longer mine,
Said Grandfather.
but at least take my suggestion.
I remember your tiger very well, said the keeper. He died 2 months ago.
Died?
Exclaimed Grandfather. Yes, sir, of pneumonia. This tiger was trapped in the hills only last month, and he is very dangerous.
Okay, so now what happened? The ending was a bit sad, right? We also didn't expect that. See, grandfather was trying to comfort that tiger, Timothy, but Timothy का reaction थोड़ा weird था. Now, as grandfather was doing this, everyone gathered. कि सब लोग आसपास gather होने लगे ये देखने के लिए कि how easily and without any fear that grandfather is trying to comfort that tiger. Then a keeper के keepers होते हैं ना जो इन zoo के animals का ध्यान रखते हैं. So they came and they told कि मैं भी इसे कब से try कर रहा हूँ but he is very bad tempered. यानी कि वो बहुत गुस्से वाला है and वो जल्दी किसी को भी टच करने नहीं देता. ऐसे करके बोला. So then what happened? Then another keeper came and grandfather asked, आपने मुझे पहचाना? आपको याद है 6 months पहले मैं टिमोथी को देने आया था? He said yes, but he was hesitating. आपने देखा वो बोल रहे थे but. It was because he said आपका जो टाइगर था वो 2 months पहले ही पास हो चुका है. That is he died because of pneumonia. निमोनिया की वजह से आपका टाइगर जो है वो मर चुका है. एंड ये जो टाइगर है वो दूसरा टाइगर है जो अभी थोड़े टाइम पहले ही आया है. But the grandfather didn't knew, right? उन्हें लगा कि ये तो टिमोथी ही होगा क्योंकि टिमोथी की प्लेस पे रखा है. So he was very sad to hear that because zoo authorities ने उन्हें इन्फॉर्म भी नहीं किया कि उनका टाइगर निमोनिया से मर चुका है. So this is it. Which letter is silent in pneumonia? निमोनिया वर्ड में कौन सा लेटर साइलेंट है? सी हम क्या प्रोनाउंस करें? निमोनिया. सो पी इज साइलेंट. Okay?
The tiger was still licking grandfather's arms and enjoying it. Grandfather withdrew his hands from the cage very slowly. With his face near the tiger's, he mumbled, "Good night, Timothy." Then, giving the keeper a scornful look, grandfather walked briskly out of the zoo.
So what happens? कि ये टाइगर तो दूसरा था पर उसने बहुत अच्छे से ग्रैंडफादर को लिक किया और प्यार किया. पर ग्रैंडफादर को जैसे ही पता चला कि मेरा टाइगर तो मर चुका है, ही वॉज वेरी अपसेट एंड उन्होंने अपना हाथ वापस ले लिया एंड उन्होंने कीपर को एक लुक दिया, एक गुस्से वाला लुक. वाई? बिकॉज इसका मतलब तो कहीं ना कहीं ये हुआ कि उन्होंने टाइगर का ध्यान अच्छे से नहीं रखा. दिस इज वाई दे डाइड. सो दिस वॉज द चैप्टर एंड लेट्स डिस्कस सम डिक्शनरी. बैड टेम्पर दैट मीन्स ऑफन एंग्री, यानी कि जो बहुत गुस्से में चल दिया है. ब्रिस्कली, क्विकली, दैट इज ब्रिस्क वॉकिंग करना ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, तो क्विकली वॉकिंग करना. क्रीप, to move with your body close to the ground, to move slowly and quietly on your hands and knees. Okay? So आप जब धीरे धीरे चलते हो तो उसको बोलते हैं creep. Then we'll discuss some question answers.
Answer these questions.
What was Timothy's favorite place? It was the sofa in the living room. Then, when did grandfather decide that it was time to shift Timothy to a zoo? When? Because he was the size of a full-grown golden retriever. जब उन्हें देखा कि बहुत बड़ा हो गया है, एक गोल्डन रिट्राइवर डॉग के साइज का आ रहा है, तब उन्होंने डिसाइड किया अब हमें इसे शिफ्ट कर लेना चाहिए. Then, for what reason did grandfather give the tiger at the zoo a smack around his mouth? उसके मुंह के पास में स्मैक क्यों दिया था? Because it had been his way of keeping the tiger quiet. जब वो छोटा होगा और वो चिल्लाता होगा तब वो ऐसे स्मैक देके उसे शांत करते होंगे. Is it clear? So the story was very touching and indeed it was a sad ending. With this we had completed our English syllabus and I hope it's clear to all of you. So we'll meet in the next class. Till that, God bless you all. Goodbye.